microphone now, okay? I think we're all here. This is so exciting. I'm going to stop this background here for a moment. It is so great to see everybody.
Yay, we made it.
Cool. Welcome. Welcome. It's so I'm going to start with some introductions and get things rolling. Well, just brief overview. So I'm Eric Siegel, Director of Education at the Harn Museum of Art. That's my background. It's just a fake background. Like everyone else, I'm at home. And this is our monthly museum night. It takes place every month on the second Thursday. It's a real pleasure and honor for me to be here with the three of you. Jody Berman in a moment is going to Owusu Shangofemi and Dr. Ade Ofunniyin, and she'll tell us a little bit more about who you are. What I'm going to do now is play a short 6-minute video of Susan Cooksey, who I think you all know, who is our curator of African art. And it's a short introductory video to the exhibition, Peace, Power, Prestige, Metal Arts in Africa. And I think it's going to be a wonderful connection to the conversation that I think we'll have together. So we can relax for a few minutes. I'm going to share a video. I think we'll all be able to see it. And then we'll come back and start the conversation. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, it's good.
Here we go. Let's see. What do I need to do?
Okay.
Start my videos up. Share screen. God help me, I can't find it. Sorry about this. One more little technical difficulty. We'll soon be underway. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Susan Cooksey, and I'm curator of this exhibition, Peace, Power, and Prestige, Metal Arts in Africa. Today, I'm going to talk about iron and blacksmithing in Africa, and we're talking mainly sub-Saharan Africa in this exhibition, but I want to focus on the Yoruba people. Before I start talking about the Yoruba, however, I would like to just mention that iron, as other metals, have metaphorical meanings. They have associations with the spirit world and the powers of the spirit world in many cases. And iron in particular was thought to be endowed with great power. Metal in general was associated with strength and durability, but also beauty. There were aesthetic aspects of it. For iron, for the Mande people, for example, of Mali and throughout West Africa, iron workers, the blacksmiths, were known as Numu. They endowed great power in the metal, and by pounding the metal and making it beautiful, they gave it more power. And this power was something that they could harness from the universe. It was called Nyama. And by harnessing this power, they could use it to help humans. They could help them negotiate the problems of life and mediate with the spirit world through Nyama. This is very true of metal in many instances. For the Yoruba, for the Congo, many peoples thought of iron as something that associated them with the ancestors, for example. Here you can see these Congo objects. One is a staff, a figure carved in it. The point would have had an iron spike that would have been tapped against the ground for the spirit to say, yes, I'm connected to the ancestral world and to the world of the divine ancestors who were also blacksmiths, kings in this region. So this has a lot of power in it as a chiefly staff. The metal that you see on this Congo blade, this iron blade with one arm, as you will, going up and one down, is also an allusion to the dividing line between the ancestral realm and the realm of humans, one going up and one going down. And it also alludes to this idea of the blacksmith kings of the area. So we have the sense of those who could use metal had a divine power, and that power was associated with authority as well. Now I'd like to show you something that has been made by Yoruba smiths, and they were called agbede. Iron itself was called irin, and it was thought to be a metal that was important not only for making things that were useful as tools, but for things that could be used for supernatural purposes. So here we have 3 staffs that have iron in them. The one over here is for the deity of agriculture, Orisha Oko, and the top part has these bands of metal that are made from blades of farming implements, of hoes. Down here, this iron part has a crossroads, which has been divided into 4 quadrants. So it represents the face of Eshu, and Eshu is the communicator god between the world of humans and the world of the deities. So it's about mitigating all the problems in the world through this communication. So Oko brings bounty and brings harmony and brings peace. But it also is a very strong, as you see, implement, and it is durable and something that is related to the idea of working and the idea of even weaponry. If you look at it, it looks like a very long blade. This object is for a healer, and Osanyin is the god of healing. You see that there are birds lined up around here, and a large bird with 4 feet on top, and what looks like a big peg on top of his back, and then this tail that looks like it's curling up. So mysterious symbolism. This could be an allusion to an anvil, but why would a diviner or a healer have metal? Why would they have this iron? The blacksmith is guided by Ogun, the god of metal, and he's associated with the power of iron. And this Ogun was the clearer of the path for the first human beings on the earth, and therefore he's associated with someone who is helping, he's clearing the land with his machete, he's cutting down trees, he's cutting down medicines or plants that could be used for herbal medicines. So you see that over here there are rolled up leaves on this staff that are related to the herbal medicines of the forest. So we see that the healer is also connected to Ogun, because he depends on Ogun for clearing the way. But the idea of clearing the way means that Ogun has the positive ability to enforce social justice, to create harmony and peace in the world among humans, but it can also be destructive. So it has this dual power. Ogun controls all metals, the metal of your car, the metal of your computer. Anything that you do that has metal, whether it's iron or anything else, Ogun is the god of the metal. So here we have a staff of a diviner, an herbalist, and both of them are made completely of iron. Over here, we have another tool that is used just for blacksmiths. This staff is called an Iwana Ogun. It is just for blacksmiths. It is an official emblem for a blacksmith, and it celebrates their great skill. So this is a blacksmith staff for someone who is very skilled. It shows a kneeling male figure with this staff in his hand. It's sometimes called a poker. So imagine poking into the furnace with the staff, and this actually has an iron tip on it that is curved at the end. But the figure is brass. Brass is considered a very durable, radiant metal that, instead of being associated with the male aggressive powers of Ogun, is associated with the goddess of the waters, Oshun. So here we have this radiant kind of female sort of metal with this different meaning altogether, joined together with the power of Ogun. So complete balance and harmony of genders and ideas of something cooling, something hot, together. So it's a really amazing kind of emblem of the blacksmith's art. African blacksmiths were considered so highly skilled and so technically versed that their work was coveted by many other people. Inside Africa, they were often captured, enslaved, and outside people, foreigners came and also enslaved them, and they were taken to the Americas and elsewhere. In the Americas, they helped with the Revolutionary War and preparing arms and tools, and they also helped with the Civil War. Their quality, the quality of the metal they produced and the products they made from that metal were superb. And the recognition of their contribution is also something we should consider in terms of aesthetics. When you go to a town like Charleston, Savannah, New Orleans, or even here in Gainesville, you will see the work of African descendants, blacksmiths, still working, or were working recently. And that has done so much to enhance the architecture of our cities. It has become part of our national identity. And tonight you'll be meeting one of the artists. His name is Yaw Owusu Shangofemi and also Ade Ofunniyin, both associated with the great American blacksmith Philip Simmons from Charleston. And I do hope that you will enjoy the conversation with them and with Jody Berman this evening for Museum Nights. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
That was great. That was just recorded earlier today in the exhibition. We're delighted to share a little bit of the exhibition. The museum just opened today after being closed for months. And we're open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We invite anyone who can to visit. That said, I'm going to take a backseat role. I'd like to pass the baton of responsibility and the joy of conversation to Jody. I do have a video of Yaw working that we can share at some point, but I'd love for you to sort of start sharing your thoughts about the exhibition, about your work, about blacksmithing, about metalwork today. Thanks, Jody.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
And thanks, Susan. That was a great introduction. I really enjoyed watching her walk through the gallery and learning things about some blacksmith work that I didn't know. So tonight I will be interviewing Yaw specifically. This came about through an essay, most recently an essay that Ade and I co-wrote. But prior to that, I was a master's student at the University of Florida with confusion as to what to write. And Dr. Robin Pointer, our mentor, introduced me to Ade. Ade and Yaw have been friends for decades. And Ade then introduced me to Yaw, and I ended up writing my thesis on Yaw, his blacksmithing career. But Ade also has a connection to that story because not only has he Ade practiced as a blacksmith for some period of his life, but his grandfather, Philip Simmons, is still the most revered American blacksmith. And Yaw was apprentice in Philip Simmons' shop. His work illustrates similarities to that shop, but his work is also going in directions that Philip Simmons never went. So I'm so honored to be able to continue this relationship with Ade and Yaw and ask Yaw some questions. So Yaw, are you ready for my questions?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so I wanted to start just to give our audience a little background and a little more about your story. And we talked about perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about your name and how that relates to your story as an artist, as a blacksmith, as a person.
My name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my name was given to me by an Akan priest, the head of the Akan priests in in Queens, New York. And it just suited me, so I kept it, Yaw. And he gave me the name Yaw, and he gave me Owusu. I got that from Nana Dinazulu. And later on down the line, affiliated with Oyatunji Village, I got the name Shangofemi. Yeah, because that was my Orisha name, Shango.
Yes, Shango being
Shangofemi means Shango loves me.
And Shango being
so
the
it
god
just
of
stuck with
thunder. Okay.
me.
And when did you first become interested in art? When did you first start considering yourself an artist? How did that?
I was drawing dinosaurs as a little boy. I was always drawing. I was one of them little kids that always had a piece of paper and was drawing different things. So I started as a little child drawing. Later on, I got into the music. My mother enrolled me in the music classes. And later on down the line, I got into, after working at the School of Visual Arts in New York City, the director told me he liked my drawings. He was looking at my drawings again, I was drawing. And he said, "Oh, you enroll in classes in the evening. You can take classes here in the evening free. You ain't got to pay any money. You can come and enroll here." So that started off my art career, and from working and going to the School of Visual Arts. At the school, I was a gallery assistant. I helped set up all the shows. I was multitasking there. In the beginning, I just worked in the mailroom. Afterwards, I did a little painting there, painting of the school. And after that, I worked in the gallery. My last job there was working in the gallery. And I left from there and went into working for Braun and Zachau Restoration Studio. They were restoring oil paintings and the sculptures for all of the museums and galleries in New York. And I worked for them for a little while. I mean, at least 3 years, 2-3 years. And they didn't really want to pay me. So I wind up doing something else, then. But eventually, after leaving New York, I got into taking courses in welding and working in the shipyard. And working in the shipyard in Charleston ran me into Philip Simmons. Everybody told me, man, you got to go meet Mr. Phillip. So I wind up meeting Mr. Phillip. I think it was like in 76. And I used to come by the shop after I got off from work and just keep my eyes open. That's what I did. And they taught me, they started, and I wind up leaving Charleston and I wound up in Atlanta, Georgia. And while I was in Atlanta, I was always calling back, talking to Mr. Phillip. And one day I called back, and it was Ade on the phone. And I was like, okay. He explained to me who he was, you know, and told me, he said, man, you should come back to Charleston. And that was exactly what was on my mind. That's why I was calling, because I was tired of Atlanta, you know. And I wind up back in Charleston. Me and my a girlfriend, Sister Manera, we made it there. And let me tell you, we made it there. And when the car got in front of the house, the car broke down.
It was a sign.
So we just made it there. You know. And that car really never ran too well after that. You know, I had to wind up getting rid of it. But I was back in Charleston, right next door to the Philip Simmons shop. I lived in the back house. Our day had the front house, and I lived in a little house in the back. And eventually, we set up a little, I apprenticed with Mr. Simmons. I worked in his shop, went out on jobs with him, me and Ade, and learned. And eventually, we set up a shop on our side of the fence.
You and
We had
I.
a little garage. Yeah, me and Ade, we turned it into the shop. So that was the beginning of the Charleston Blacksmith Company, you know. And we did a lot of work in Charleston. So much work. Some of it I have forgotten. And I have to, you know, ride around sometime and look, and I say, oh, that's my work right there. That's how we did a lot of work in Charleston. Yeah.
So how do you feel like your work was impacted by your apprenticeship with Philip? What influence did he have on your work, would you say?
Well, he had a lot, because what it was I was doing just straightforward ironwork. But when I started working with Mr. Phillips, he taught me how to do the real old time Charleston scrolls. And he taught me about the fabrication of old style ironwork in Charleston. And that really impacted greatly on my work, because I didn't know anything about it. All I knew was the regular, you know, prefab ironwork shops, the things that the regular ironwork shops are doing all over the world without blacksmith in it. They got a lot of shops that do that, and they buy their scrolls made somewhere else and put them in their work. They don't do hardly any design. But what I learned from Philip was he was drawing, he was doing all of his designs, and creating the work, you know. So I learned that, you know, and I took to it real well, because I was an artist already, and I was an artist already, and it
You
just,
work. You
it
had
was a natural for me. I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know?
I see that scroll on the wall in the background. You know, it looks like a Philip Simmons.
It is.
Yeah.
I got scrolls all over my living room. All over. I got scrolls you can see.
Mm.
See, there scrolls all over,
Yeah,
you know.
Philip is
Yeah.
Philip's influence is even on your walls. Yeah, I feel like that's something that doesn't get recognized enough is the drawing. Philip's drawings are beautiful. Your drawings are beautiful. But often we just, we just see the outcome of the metal work, but there's so much of it, of your work and Philip Simmons' work that started out as drawing, just as you started out drawing dinosaurs.
Yeah. Started out drawing dinosaurs. Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
That's the first one. That's the first one I drew. I even remember, Yeah. And when I saw Mr. Phillip doing that, I said, okay. I said, I'm in the right place, and I followed suit. We used to do all our drawing. We didn't have to go to anybody for our drawing. We used to do the drawings and give people the plans, and then we used to do the work, And that's what I've been doing ever since then, Yeah.
So
ever since then.
So how do you feel like your work differs from Philip Simmons?
Well, I have a little touch of the Africa influence in my work.
Mm-hmm.
Philip had it in his work too, but he didn't know it. We had to show him. We had to say, that right there is an African symbol. And he was like, oh yeah. And we used to tell him, I said, yeah. I said, we used to see him make a lot of the Sankofa, the heart-shaped ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Dinka symbol. That's Sankofa,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the other ones, the scroll work,
Mm-hmm.
Is the African influence, And a lot of people really don't know that, Yeah.
Yeah, and with the African influence, you were interested in the Akan Temple in Ghana, in Queens, and then you also took influence through your experience in Oyatunji Village, which is
Right.
South Carolina, in Beaufort, South Carolina, Beaufort County. So for the viewers who don't know, Oyatunji Village is in South Carolina, and it was named after the Oyo Empire in Nigeria. It means Oyo returns or Oyo rises again. And there they practice customs and laws of Yoruba religion, etc. And you spent some time there. And I think you've told me that has also impacted your work. I was wondering if you could tell us about a specific iron work that you feel was influenced by Oyatunji.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. We did. I was approached by one of the priestess from Oyatunji, Omiyaladora, and she wanted me to do a bird for the Women's Society. And I was already doing the vulture birds, So she saw what I was doing and she said, that's what I want you to make for me. So I made the vulture, which sits at the Yemanya shrine in Oyatunji.
Mm-hmm.
Still sits there. Last time I saw some photos, it was still there. Yeah.
Yeah, and birds have often been associated with women in Yoruba culture. We see that also on the Osayin staff that we saw in Susan's.
Yeah, that's the women's society. Yeah, that's what it represented. I didn't know that before that, but I understood it then. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
That was.
You've made some
I'm
beautiful
listening.
staffs as well.
I didn't hear you.
I said you have also made some beautiful Osayin staffs.
Oh yes. Yeah, I've made a lot of them. I used to doing a lot of work for the EFA Foundation of North America. They're Ormond Beach, Florida. I did a lot of work for them, and they sold a lot of my work. A lot of my Osayin staffs and EFA staff and Ogun tools, the tools for the Ogun shrine. What else did I used to do for them? Tools for the Ogun shrine, Ochosi, the bow and arrow. I used to do a lot of those for them, but I made good money.
Yeah, I
with.
think
Go ahead.
I was going to say what I've seen in your work, and it is included in the book Peace, Power, and Prestige for the exhibition, is an Osayin staff that looks very much like the Yoruba precedent, but it also has the scroll that you have talked about influencing you from Philip's shop. So I felt like that was such a beautiful,
I did.
Yeah, I felt like such a beautiful example of all, the different moments of your life that have influenced your work.
Yeah, that's the way it rolls. When something inspires you, it comes out in your work.
Yes.
And the work you do, that's how it comes out. Yeah. I got to get one of those holders for my phone. I have to keep moving this thing around. Yeah.
That's okay.
All right.
Something we've also talked about is, or you know what, I think now would be a good time. Why don't we cut in the video? Eric, are you there? And then we'll get back to the rest of the questions. Let's take a little video break.
I sure am here, and I'll be delighted to share the video. Let me call that up. Yeah, this is wonderful. I was thinking of it too, Jody. Let me make sure I'm sharing screen.
And we can thank Ade for this video. But it really gives a better idea of what happens in the blacksmith shop and the sounds and the motions and how physical the work of it is. Every bend in the metal takes muscle power to make it so.
Here we go. It's about 6 minutes. How do I press play?
Someone asked me, how long have I been doing artwork? Well, I feel like since I was a young kid, I've always been drawing dinosaurs and doing stuff. And one of the directors of the art school in New York where I was working saw my drawings and got me into the school, So I used the welding and the forge work to do what I was doing with the drawing. When I started blacksmith and started ironwork, a lot of people told me that, I need to stop, I ain't gonna do nothing with this and all the rest of that, but I didn't pay any attention to them. I kept doing my work, kept forging, kept my shop open no matter what. And I done been through a whole lot in between that. But I kept what did Philip tell me? He said, keep the fire going, and that's what we've been doing, keeping the fire going. About this Osayin staff here. We start off at the bottom, which is coming up from the earth, and we got the spiral. Then the spirals continue up here, and you know that's how the energy moves in the earth anyway, in the spiral kind of shape. Then we got up here, we come up here, and these are like a go-go or bells underneath the bottom of this stand that the Osayin birds sit on. And you can see he got his wings and his feathers in the back. You know, and the head is forged out from round stock. This Osayin here is more for inside, like on the desk, on a display cabinet or something like that. You can see it. And all of this has been forced out from small pieces of metal. Sankofa, which is going back to your past and use what is good, you know. So now in the day where the black family is in trouble because we so much all over the place, you know, that's what it's all about, you know, to go back to your family, because it starts in the family and the community. And that's what we talk when we're talking about Sankofa, you know, to go back to the old ways that we used to do things.
That was amazing. I love that video, seeing you at work in the forge. Can I pop in with a question from one of our viewers here this evening? There's two questions here. I don't know if this one means anything to you or not, Yaw. What is the, excuse me, I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
Yeah, someone's asking, are you interested in abstract art at all? Is that an influence for you?
Yeah, I've done some. I've done some.
Yeah, and do you look at our abstract art? Do you look at other artists, or are you mostly looking to metalwork as your source of inspiration?
I don't know whether I look at what other people do, but I try to get my inspiration from my own creativity. You know.
Yeah.
I do a lot of dreaming, and through the dreaming, that's what gives me the inspiration to do my work.
That's a beautiful source. Thank you. I'm going to bounce it back to Jody, and we'll see about some more questions coming in a little later.
Okay.
Jody, you're muted.
Thank you. So in the video and also in our conversation, Yaw, you mentioned Sankofa, the bird that has his head backwards and his feet forward. And I just love that symbol because there's so much wisdom, you know, that we can take from looking back and also moving into the future. And I feel like your work is a beautiful encapsulation of that spirit, because you look to an ancestral roots heritage, as it were, through Akan and Yoruba. You also have the connection to Philip Simmons. You also have your own creative prowess that you reflect in your work. But you also mentioned your dreams and how those have been an inspiration to you. So can you tell us a little bit more about how that manifests in your work, your dreams?
My dreams?
Yes.
Well, what I try to do, I try not to force any design or anything I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
I try to let it come naturally, you know. And part of that is dreams, and part of that is just the creative juices flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just figured out right in my head. You know, I say, oh, that needs to go this way, and that needs to go that way, and I just do it, you know. Yeah, I do it. But the dreams bring on a lot of stuff. The dreams brought to me quite a few. The Star David gate that I did,
Mm-hmm.
that was a dream. You know,
Oh, I thought that was my
I was dreaming about, huh?
I'm teasing. I said, oh, I thought that was my influence, the Star of David.
No, that was more, I dreamed about my mother and her girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was showing them the Star of David, you know, because in Brooklyn, the synagogue is right across the street, you know.
From where your mother lived.
This is something that we grew up around, you know, with the Star of David and the different symbols and stuff coming, you know. So I was showing my mother this Star of David, her and her girlfriend, and next thing I know, I was making the Star of David gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you've also created the gate for the Dreamer's Garden in Gainesville. Speaking of dreams.
Okay. Yeah.
you've mentioned music as an influence, and now you're hopefully going to be creating another gate for Dreamer's Garden in Gainesville, Florida. Can you tell us?
Okay, got the drawing already.
Yep, you got the drawing already. So that one is music inspired, right?
Music inspired, Ray Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can you describe your
know
drawing?
something I was thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me?
I was going to ask if you could just describe the design of the gate that is to be for the Gate of the Muses.
The Muses, I used the C clef, the big clef, for the main piece of the gate, and I used music notes all around the main part of the gate. And of course, the scroll work is going to go in there to hold everything in place, you know. And I thought about even using some piano keys in the gate, you know.
Like actual ones, or you're going to create?
Yeah, actual piano keys.
Wow, wow.
You know, in the bottom part of the gate, you know, sort of midway, you know. And I think that would go good, you know, since we talking about Ray Charles. And I thought, as far as when the gate is installed, you know, we got to play Ray Charles.
That's right.
Yeah, we got to play Ray Charles.
We have to bring his spirit there. Good. Yeah. And, you know, interestingly, how that gate came about for the viewers is I was living in that neighborhood and I was writing my dissertation on Yaw at that point. And the woman who started the garden, hopefully she's watching, Maria Huff Edwards, the first dreamer of Dreamer's Garden, she said that she started telling me how she had always wanted Philip Simmons to make a gate for that garden. And lo and behold, Ade was with me. And I said, well, here's Philip Simmons' grandson right here. And it was just through this kismet experience that gate came about. So yeah, I think that if anyone else has any questions, I would love to entertain them for Yaw or myself.
Sure, here I am again. First of all, let's see. Ade, this is a shout out to you. Bonnie Bernot says hello. She's my former colleague at the Harn Museum. And Leslie Tharp, who's another blacksmith here in Gainesville, says hi. She's delighted to be seeing you tonight. Bonnie asks if Ade's video will be available for use later. It is on YouTube. And Bonnie and others, I'll post the link to Ade's video of Yaw in our YouTube live stream in a moment after I stop talking. There's a question about blacksmithing and metalworking for you, Yaw. And Ade, you may also have some thoughts because you're a metal worker as well. Sort of, you know, what was the most difficult part of learning metalworking? And I think that might be asking about specific techniques or materials, or maybe it's about creativity and inspiration. You know, any of those might be the most difficult area. And our viewers are interested to hear what you have to say about that. What were some of the challenges you experienced?
Yeah,
The question's for me?
I could answer some of it too if you want me to.
Go ahead, man.
I think that part of the challenge for both Yaw and myself was being in the blacksmith shop with apprentices that had been in the shop with my granddad since they were 13 years old. And Yaw and I were, in their minds, Johnny come lately to the shop. And I was definitely Johnny come lately, and but Yaw was experienced, and they greatly underestimated Yaw's abilities. And it was not long after Yaw and I teamed up that we were doing major projects because of the ability that Yaw had developed over an amazingly swift period of time. But he attributed it to the fact that he was an artist anyway. And if Yaw sees it and feels it, he can make it out of his head. Out of his head. And he's an amazing drawer, designer, engineer, all of those things. And those are things that my granddad had to be as well. And no one give the blacksmith much credit for being a scientist. Because to be able to put metal in fire, beat it and shape it, requires tremendous science. You have to be a metallurgist. You have to understand the science of heat, water, and cool, because after you heat it, you got to quench it. And so kudos to Yaw for just his patience and his determination. And so, Yaw, you got it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what it is. It's a determination, because you just can't give up. Sometimes what I used to do, I used to get stuck, and I used to just take it easy. I said, okay, let's just take a break and think about it,
Yeah.
or dream about it. And I used to figure it out just like that. Yeah.
One of the ways that Yaw would take a break, and he would get in his car and he would go to the beach and go swimming.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for
Yep,
Yaw.
that's my break.
I'm looking for him.
Your shop was too close to the beach.
Yeah. No, Yaw was at the beach.
So Ade, I know another something else that people are wondering is there's some wonderful metal work pieces behind you. And I know people are curious just to hear something about one of those pieces and why you feel connected to them. And
well, I happen to be a collector. I think I'm the Yaw's largest collector. I think I have more of Yaw's work than anybody. And I collected Yaw's work intentionally because I anticipated that this time will come where his work would need to be in a collection, be on display. And so I used to pay Yaw in advance for anything that he made. Anything that you make, Yaw is mine.
Right. All right.
So
I
have Yaw's work behind me. I have Carlton's work behind me. I have my grandfather's work behind me. And the room where I'm sitting is what I call my Philip Simmons gallery. And if I could walk you around it, you would see some amazing photographs and iron pieces that my granddad made and that no one else have. And so one day maybe those pieces will be in the Harn.
Yeah. Well, I admire your passion. Collecting metal work is a commitment. It's big. It takes a lot of room. You have to create space in your home for it. So it's really a lovely thing that you're supporting metal work and collecting it and looking to its history and its future.
I have no choice.
It's in your blood.
Thank you.
Let's see, another question. Let's see. Thank you, professors. This is from Werade. Thank you, professors, and thank you, Harn Museum staff. You're welcome for this interesting presentation concerning the most mysterious item in human history. Wow. So what do you think about that? The mystery of metal.
That's powerful. Yeah, that's powerful. And I didn't really know how powerful metal was until I did my graduate work and had the opportunity of studying in Nigeria and visiting blacksmith shops and working with blacksmiths in Nigeria, because that was the focus of my work, ironwork, for my master's degree. And so I was able to make that transcontinental connection of blacksmith and who they are in the community. And Susan, she encapsulated them wonderfully. And it's about a lot more than beating metal. And most people don't know that blacksmiths were some of the people that Susan describes. They were the kings, the healers, the medicine people, and the counselors in the community. And they were quite itinerant, because if there was a person in another country that needed something made, he would commission a blacksmith from another country because his reputation preceded him. So blacksmiths were quite itinerant, and yeah.
That's lovely. You talked specifically about Charleston ironwork, and I was interested. My grandfather was a blacksmith in Philadelphia, and I haven't studied blacksmith, but I'm curious if you travel around the United States and sort of really see a regional sort of variation in style in different cities.
Mostly New Orleans. Yeah, Yaw has done more traveling around blacksmith than me, but at one point in our early career, we had a road show. We would travel around. We would be invited to different museums, and we'd take our show on the road and do demonstrations and introduce people to blacksmithing and Gullah Geechee culture. And yeah, I think we did that very early in our career. And yeah.
And you're still a passionate advocate for preserving and teaching about Gullah Geechee culture.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
That's what you do. It's beautiful. I've got one or two more questions. Jody, I don't know if you have other questions that you want to.
Oh, go ahead, please.
So yeah, I think, and sort of, we're going to be probably rounding things out, but actually not Jody Berman, but another Berman, Bruce Berman. Ade is curious about the painting behind you. It's always interesting to go into people's homes, of course, and we're in your home tonight. So there's a question, if you could tell us about that painting behind you, Ade.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that.
Yeah, I wanted to know myself.
Well,
yeah, I thought you were talking. The painting behind me is my grandfather. Oh, I'll move the camera. Can you see it more? Is that a better perspective? I'll move out the picture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's Philip Simmons,
That's
who
my
we've been talking about
grandfather.
all evening, for people who have not yet gotten to read Jody's and Ade's article about Yaw and learn more about Philip Simmons as well.
Yeah, so I commissioned an artist, Joe Pinckney, to paint this portrait in 1991. And right about now, it's the most noted portrait around Charleston. We had some prints made of it. And so for anyone that's interested, I have about 100 of those prints left.
Okay.
And you can easily be found on the internet. People find you in your Gullah-Geechee website and your contact
Yes.
information there.
Yeah, and
Um,
you can find me at the Gullah Society, www.thegullahsociety.com. Please visit me.
It's a great website. And Yaw, you thought we were asking about a painting of yours. I think maybe the scrolls.
Go to scrolls.
Is that it? Or are there other paintings behind you that we're dying to get a tour of?
I got scrolls all over the place in here. That's what I got.
Right. Yeah, they're lovely.
Mostly scroll work.
Yeah.
I got it on every wall in my house. You can see it on.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I got it all over the place. Scroll work. Yeah.
That's very cool.
You know, scroll work is interesting because you can turn it into anything. You know, it could turn into a bird, it could turn into a fish, it could turn into a lot of things. Just that simple scroll. And you'll find scroll work in fabric design or type of designs. I've looked and I say that's a scroll, you know, and you know it's an all different kind of design, artist design work, fabric, excuse me, material, masonry, you know, you name it, it's there, you know, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting
So
because there's the Gullah baskets have that circular, pattern to them. And there's that connection between Congo and the meaning with that circle of life and so on and so forth. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I think I have one
that's
last.
right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. You were going to say something else about scrolls?
No.
Cool.
No, I'm good.
Good. One last question, I think, from our viewers, and then we'll probably be wrapping up shortly. So you talked a little bit about traveling, and so Leslie Tharp is interested in learning more about where you traveled and demonstrated your work.
Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh,
Yes, sir.
we did demonstrations in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Wow.
We did demonstrations, and where else?
Florida.
Florida.
We did exhibitions, and we did exhibitions as well. Yeah, we did demonstrations and exhibitions.
Oh yeah, all over Florida. All over Florida, you know. And then I did some demonstrations in New York too. When I was up there, people wanted to see me, you know, come and let me see. Matter of fact, on one church, old church downtown Brooklyn, they wanted us to do the forge work on site. They didn't want us to do it in the shop. They wanted us to do it at the church. So we did it at the church, you know. And I found out that all of the old ironwork is similar. The ones in Charleston, the ones in New York, the ones in all over the United States, the old on the East Coast. I don't know about the West Coast, but on the East Coast, the work is similar. Yeah. Nobody got it like they got it in Charleston, but it's similar. You can find some similar designs all over the coast.
Great. Well, I feel inspired to be looking at ironwork and there's, when we can travel again, I think all of our eyes will be sharpened to it in the great cities that you're talking about, Charleston, New Orleans, Florida.
New Orleans too. I did a lot. I did demonstrations in New Orleans too. I forgot about that. Yeah, I used to go down to the Jazz and Heritage Festival and do demonstrations. I went down one time and do demonstration, and I think I stayed down there for a month doing work.
Wow.
They wanted to keep me, but I had to come back to Charleston. Yeah.
Well, this has been such an amazing conversation to observe and listen to and experience. I'm so grateful to the three of you for sharing your time and your knowledge and experience with us. You're so generous. It's heartwarming, and I know that the people who've joined us this evening will really have taken a lot out of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Yaw,
you.
Jody,
Appreciate
Ade, for being part of this evening, for being this evening.
Yeah,
It's really
thank
great
you.
to have you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Yaw.
Thank you all as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace.
All right. See you soon.
All right.
So long, all.
All right.
And bye-bye, Ade. Bye, Yaw.
Okay. Peace.
Okay, peace indeed. That's a great thought as we just about end museum nights here. So I want to just share with our visitors who are still with us, if I can share my screen. Doesn't look like I can share my screen at the moment for some reason. I just want to say, if you're feeling inspired by what you've listened to and engaged in this evening, and want to do some, not sort of metalworking, we're not in the business of that, but if you want to be inspired with some metalworking inspired projects, we have those on our website. We invite you to go check out harn.ufl.edu. You'll see our Harn at Home projects, which are really projects you can do at home with materials you most likely have at home. And it's a great opportunity to express your creative instincts, your creative energies at this time when we are so much at home. So I invite you to explore the Harn website for a bunch of materials that can be inspiring. The museum, as I mentioned, is now open. Today was the first day we've opened up in months, and it was a real pleasure to see a few visitors come in. People are coming in cautiously. Everyone's wearing masks. We are cleaning regularly. We're asking people to physically, maintain distance. So we're maintaining a very safe environment. And it's a great time to see the museum. So we'll see you there soon. We'll see you online often. And I wish everyone well. And again, thank you to Ade Ofunniyin and to Yaw Owusu Shangofemi for being so generous tonight. And with that, thank you for joining us for Museum Night. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.